War for the Planet of the Apes is once again directed by Matt Reeves, who also directed Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and this once again stars Andy Serkis as Caesar. And without giving any spoilers for this movie, if you remember how Dawn ended, Caesar is having to deal with the fact that a war has been declared upon humans because of Koba's actions. And so the humans are closing in on them for one final stand against the apes, and now Caesar has to prepare for a war that he never wanted in the first place. And this review, as I said, is going to be spoiler free because I don't want you to know a lot going into this film. This film, I don't know where to start with this. This film was a masterpiece, guys. I loved this movie, every single second of it. If you can watch a film and it just hooks you within the first 15 minutes, and by hook I mean floor you, absolutely emotionally hit you, you're doing a good job. This film hits you at a lot of points. And a lot of that has to do with its thematic elements, but also with other stuff that's going on, because the movie deals with these really interesting themes. There is a war in this movie. But it's not just about fights upon fights upon fights, because there is fighting, and when the fighting happens, my god, we'll talk more about that in a minute. But this movie is also a lot about internal conflict, because Caesar is having to deal with the fact that Koba's actions led to this particular moment in his life. And he's having to deal with the fact that from the last movie, what happened to Koba and what is happening right now is affecting how he's thinking. And in the movie, a lot of times you'll see Caesar reflecting on his own character, while also reflecting on the fact of how to help other characters involved in this entire situation. And for me, that's one of the strongest elements about this film. Even with the Colonel, played by Woody Harrelson, there are moments where it's easy to look at him and say he's a character who is hateful, who is horrifying, but then there are times where you understand what he's saying. And the movie does a good job of this, because that's something I love about Dawn as well. It doesn't make a one-sided case. It's easy to go into this film saying, oh, we support the apes because apes are awesome and Caesar's the greatest character ever and Andy Serkis is amazing. But it's also the fact that you're a human being watching this movie. Shouldn't you be rooting for humanity to live through this? And the film really makes it out like that. It doesn't always leave it one-sided. It is very much two-sided. And I think that's one of the strongest things about this entire trilogy. And I think that's what it accomplishes so perfectly. And a lot of this emotion, a lot of this conflict, the way it's expressed, the way it's done, it's thanks a lot in part to Andy Serkis. And he gives a performance here which I doubt is going to get nominated for an Oscar, because he hasn't been nominated for anything else. Why the hell should he be nominated for this one? I don't know what Academy has with motion capture performances. Can't you just give him this one? His performance is a masterstroke. And it is better than like 95% of the performances. Heck, even 99% of the performances I've seen this year. Every motion capture character in this film expresses so much emotion, and my god, the special effects in this movie are the stuff of legend. This is going to go down in history as one of the most beautiful films ever made. This is a stellar looking film. The cinematography is very lush. It's gorgeous to look at. And the characters, every single one of the apes in this film is done so beautifully. And a lot of the film relies on the fact that there is not much dialogue. There is a lot of communication via sign, especially with a girl named Nova, who is this mute girl. And she's phenomenal in this film. And there are moments where you have to have scenes with her where she can't speak, so you need to have sign. And despite that, this movie hits. And it hits very emotionally, especially in those moments where dialogue is at a minimum. And that's what I love about this movie a lot, and I love this about Matt Reeves in general, is the fact that he can make a movie like that. Also, this is arguably Michael Giacchino's best score in years. He has outdone himself in this movie. His music for this film is gorgeous. It's a beautiful soundtrack. There's excellent motifs that I can't wait to re-listen to over and over and over again. There's also a character in this movie named Bad Ape. things could have gone south here because he is a humorous character. He's a character who has a lot of fun and he's entertaining in his own way, although having a very similar background in some ways, to what Caesar and the other apes have. But the movie handles it really well. It never lets it derail the plot. Yes, he has a more lighthearted side in some ways, but he is still very much well incorporated into this movie. There are moments in this film where certain motifs are used from actual things which you may have known about or have seen. And surprisingly, for a PG-13 movie, this movie gets brutal. This is a brash, violent movie because once the action starts, there are sequences which are unbelievably brutal. They're very bold, and the way they're accomplished is very hard. You can't really do this so well. The fact that the movie manages to accomplish this level of brutality, it really hits. And it hits in all the right notes, all the right times. Everything about this film works. It's beautiful. It's very well written, very well directed. This film was a masterpiece, guys. I love this film. Is it my favorite movie of the year? Probably. Arguably, yes. And I'm gonna give War for the Planet of the Apes a 10 out of 10. So guys, War for the Planet of the Apes, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, let me know. Or if you've not seen it, are you excited for it? And do see it. Really support this movie. And it's really worth your time and money. See it in 3D if you can. If you can. You don't have to. But, wow. You guys are the best. Thank you so much as always for watching. If you like this, please subscribe, and I will see you guys later.